begun. One more slot is left. Who's it going to be? Team LILGUN, or is it going to be NIGHTMARE ESPORTS? LILGUN, take the blue side. NIGHTMARE going to be taking the red.
Oof, for now, I mean, the Khalid is immediately respected, and so is the Angela and Baxia. That fast-paced playstyle from NIGHTMARE is something that LILGUN don't need to deal with, so they'll take it out of the table for now. For NIGHTMARE, it's a bit more straightforward. The Nolan and the Mathilda, usually we see the Faramis being thrown in this mix as well, but if it's not that, the Bruno is still a very solid first pick.
You know, after the previous best of 5 that we just watched, all of a sudden seeing Khalid first ban, it's like, it's all coming back to me now where we are here.
This is the wild card.
This is the wild card, right? This is what we were hoping to see, and more importantly so, it just kind of goes to show that homework has been done to a certain degree for both of these teams.
Not only that, but interestingly enough, when we wait for this last ban here, I wish I knew the statistic for the red and blue side, right? Like, does it actually matter with the way that the meta is shifted right now? Because, you know, right now, the fact that Bruno's open, does it necessarily mean that a lot of these teams pick up the Bruno first? Sometimes they do. It feels like it's one of the best options for the gold lane. It's safe. It usually performs really well. You can keep the Bruno alive for the best you can, but still, there's a lot on the line just because of the fact that that's a Khalid Baxia first ban. Angela, you know, that's not so crazy or not so wild, but also the R-Lot being banned out, very much respecting Aizen there, like you mentioned earlier on, Gideon. And another pick he really likes is a Terizla.
Well, it won't be picked up because the Guinevere, once again, is showing up here.
Wow.
Wow,
is that percentage correct?
Is that correct?
No, the number. No. The number was just so big that we couldn't keep it all in one little small little portrait.
It transcends.
It transcends. It overlaps even more. You guys just can't see it.
It goes
Don't
above
worry
100,
about it.
so 103. So the display just says 3.
+1.
+1.
+1. Well, the Guinevere makes an appearance again. So shout out Yasu for saying that it won't. But for now, we'll have to see, man. We saw earlier that the presence of a Guinevere really makes it difficult for you to even contest ground, for you to even find areas of the map you can make plays around with. So with that in mind already, a counter you can think of is a Grok, right? Immune to the crowd control. We'll see if that is what NIGHTMARE wants, though.
We'll see. The Terizla is going to get... Oh, okay. As well as the Joy. I feel like NIGHTMARE they've got a good start here. They identify what Aizen likes to play. It could be a particular target at this point, and now that Aizen doesn't have access to Khalid either, the question now becomes, does he want to go for a Yuzong, and is NIGHTMARE going to be a little bit more prepared for it?
The Yuzong definitely can win out the lane, and the Yuzong and the Guinevere, I think in a way, kind of guarantees that you can really shove away your opponents in the middle of a neutral objective contest. So if NIGHTMARE are predicting that kind of, you know, if they're waiting to see that kind of problem being shown to them in the drafting phase, they gotta really find some way to really engage a fight before the turtle comes up, or, you know, maybe dive in the back line, bring some kind of crowd control immunity.
Ground control immunity might be that'd be pretty good here, and especially if we're thinking about it in that sense, LILGUN could also do the same and flex around with that Guinevere, but it looks like they are going to be locking in the Novaria as well as the Bruno on this blue side. So far, I mean, it's looking like NIGHTMARE is trying to lock down Aizen's overall hero pool, while LILGUN, they've got like a relative strategy, a general strategy that they do in the first game in the best of 5 series. Overall, like kind of like a blanket statement, you know?
Yeah, which is funny because again, you're looking at the history of their best of 3s, right? That game 1 that we typically see, I feel like they kind of try to, I don't know if you want to call it the discipline route, there's a little pickup, the discipline route, or they go a little bit slower. And then for some reason, they push the gas, you know, game 2 and beyond. Now, with this lineup already, the first 3 picks, I don't feel like that's necessary if they want to opt for it. Again, Novaria's picked up. You're playing the vision game. You can whittle down the team if you want to, but because you have the first pick, Guinevere, you're usually seeing, you know, some assertiveness happening in the early portion of the game. And one thing that we've talked about extensively here these past couple days is the fact that, yeah, you're not typically seeing a ton of objective dances anymore. You know, the turtles, the lords and everything. And you're kind of just... What I love about the wildcard teams is they love to just duke it out, right? And I know you guys are used to this in your respective regions, but I love to see it, you know, coming from the MPL Philippines. Now, I'm not saying you know, we don't have that ourselves, but so far for the wild card, it's been back and forth, and now I'm just wondering how these teams with the first phases adjust to that.
Well, if we're talking about adjustments, we have to talk about Guinevere jumps into this particular meta, because Guinevere currently holds an 88.9% win rate, and that's a large number in comparison, and a 94.1% ban rate with pick rate at the M5 wildcard.
And it's no surprise, I mean, it's really, really good. And you can see that for LILGUNs, they're trying to limit the engage potential as well. My question is, with all the expectations heading towards a roam Guinevere, will LILGUN just throw us off and actually put it in a different role? Because we've seen the Guinevere, it's just so flexible, it can make its way to the jungle, to the EXP lane as well, actually. So, if they want to try and surprise NIGHTMARE, this is the moment, man.
It's like the old R-Lot. You didn't know exactly which lane it was going in, right? It could actually fit in like 3 different lanes.
Yeah, the good old days, the good old days. I used to say that about Terizla until he went back into with no problems.
Aren't you the R-Lit main?
I was the Terizla guy.
Oh, you were the Terizla guy.
You were top ranking, right?
Top Malaysia?
That was ages ago. That was ages ago. Nowadays, not so much. I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. But looking at considering all the variables here, right? Again, NIGHTMARE Esports focusing down on the junglers and making sure that they're expecting LILGUN to actually play with thicker and harder tanks. So getting the carry early on, I think it's still a little dangerous, but still, LILGUN have options.
For NIGHTMARE though, this is a very, very aggressive plan here. They have DPS magically with the Lilia, but they also have the carry and even the Joy. So this is a lot of squishy targets, but it's a lot of damage output. So for LILGUN, I wonder what the idea is gonna be. If they make a big tank to try and sustain, it's not gonna be very realistic. I feel like they have to play around mobility, right? The way we saw earlier from SMG, kite in and out of the fights, before the DPS character that has short range can really screw your team over.
Well, I'm hoping for suppression here for the side of LILGUN, and there we go! The Kaja gets locked in, and now we are seeing the glue as well, a particularly decent matchup into the Terizla.
Yeah, I love it. I actually like this. I know, you know, export's usually the answer, but glue works great too, and it's a hero that technically it's kind of, you know, fallen off in a way, and I'm not sure exactly why that happened, but it's still a great option. And not only that, but now you kind of have obviously this tankier frontliner that you can use. If you need to, you can use it to pull. It's actually got great utility itself, the hero alone, and then you have the Kaja, right? So the pull potential is great. What's the response from NIGHTMARE Esports? They go ahead and take the Ruby, another hero we haven't seen much of.
You know, I thought that looking at the glue, right, the immediate counter comes to mind, the Faramis. I thought, wow, NIGHTMARE might go for like a roam Faramis, and that would be brutal. But went for the Ruby, and it makes sense as well. Right now, in the middle of a big fight, if the glue pops the split, Ruby and Terizla are gonna heal massively, and that might just help them out. Although with the Kaja in the picture, it seems like a prolonged fight is the last thing that LILGUNs are going to try and go for. I think they're going to go for speed, pick off, and then get out.
Yeah, let's not forget about the utility. By able to open up the map with the Novaria, it's going to be able to help them refine their decision making. Usually, we expect them to be a little slow at the very beginning to figure out those habits, and it really is starting to align here. As we get into the land of Dawn here, the next potential team to be joining us at the M5 World Championship starts now here at the wild card. Welcome, everybody, to game number 1. It's LILGUN from Mongolia up against NIGHTMARE Esports from Laos.
Oof. The highlight matchup right here definitely is the Joy and the Guinevere. Who's going to clear faster and who's going to have more impact, because the backline of Team LILGUN is vulnerable, but will Lexi even have a chance to go in there? There is the Kaja as a counter, quote unquote, but if they're saving the Divine Judgment to try and stop this Joy, then how are they going to get the fights before that?
Well, let's find out as they go into their first engagement. At the very least, we're seeing that NIGHTMARE Esports can recognize the danger that Team LILGUN actually presents. And I feel like, for the most part of it, which side of the map are they looking to play for if you are in NIGHTMARE Esports' shoes?
In the shoes of NIGHTMARE Esports, I gotta say, it should be the gold lane. I mean, look at Cammy already going for the tenacity and the firmness. He knows he's gonna get under a lot of fire, but So out of nowhere, as we're analyzing, gets taken out. Trying to roam, but getting punished for it instead.
Even with the Purify, you know, like he used it. But unfortunately, this early damage from Team LILGUN is a little bit too much to handle right now. So again, first blood in their hands. We know that they like to play with momentum.
Let's see how much momentum they're able to generate off of this, right? It means that Soso's going to get slightly delayed. They hard shove the lane as well, and we're looking at the EXP, right? In terms of both sides, you know, both forward and as well Soso, basically the same. So technically Soso is only just giving away gold and not really losing too much in his own lane.
And in this EXP matchup, it is brutal, man. A glue lane is so difficult to deal with. Of course, Juviana can clear the wave and sustain, but overall, the fact that the cooldown on the Slam resets when you pick up the blobs, that means you're in the lane. Technically, you have one of the best all-ins among all the EXP laners. That is a difficult task to try and handle. And we've seen earlier, when the EXP lane falls behind, that could be dangerous.
I mean, to go even more detail, while this technical boss is actually going on for the side of Team LILGUN, hopefully our marshals have got that under wraps, no problems. The important thing is the fact that even though he does get the Slam resets, there's also the passive buildup. So while we do see Terizla trying to go for the trades, trying to hit him out as much as he can while pushing the waves, he gets slowed down even more. And especially at level 1, it becomes dangerous because then once you get encapsulated at max stacks, catching him by picking up those blobs, you instantly lose the lane at that point.
This is absolutely brutal, man. And he goes with the concussion as well, but here we gotta see once again, dude.
This is the perfect entertainment for a break like this.
Okay,
okay. He's got a round skin. Okay, Atlas as well. Come on, come
React
on.
core.
Has to be a good one. Oh,
Matilda. All right. Come on, we know what we want. We want to see it.
Whoa. Lifeboard.
What?
No!
Hey, that's Stoppa.
Turn it back. Oh, it's a light board. Let's go. Okay, that's pretty worth it.
That's fitting, by the way. I was going to...
Exactly.
Dude, we've
Nice
been
move.
roommates for 4 days.
We're in sync.
I know. Tigreal, he had his first win yesterday, and now he gets drawn. Oh, is she going to go again? Oh, I thought she was going to go again.
Oh, the dream. Hopefully this inspires more people to start rolling down on these streams, dude. Oh, that'd be great. That would be great. 2 more minutes until our tech issues are going to be double checked here. Maybe it might even end a little bit earlier. But as you mentioned before, Arashi, they're, again, going to be putting from the side of NIGHTMARE Esports, they're going to be putting their resources towards that gold side. I feel like LILGUN's overall game plan seems relatively simple, right? Because again, as long as you affect the jungler and take away the support, well, not the support roamer, but in this case, the reinforcements that's expected to come, it just makes it one step easier for LILGUN to actually go for these 5v5s.
They have a lot more mobility to play around with, and in the early game at least, they have a lot more burst damage and utility to play around with. For NIGHTMARE, we saw that Lilia can clear the wave, but during the roam attempt, she's going to be moving along with a Ruby and maybe a Joy. And in this early stage of the game, that isn't really that strong, right? The damage is quite limited. You need some more items. You can really rely only on that. And that's how we're seeing LILGUN coming out on top, punishing that roam. And that's a great start, but can they keep the pressure up? Because we all know how devastating Lilia gets.
Well, I think it's time. Let's run it back as we get back into the land of Dawn. Let's see the quick updates here. I see level 4s, I see level 5s, and I see Sora instantly in the purple buff side.
And also, it looked like Turtle was secured earlier, so they're still going to be battling out here on this side of the jungle. ZXORA going to be quite low. Juviana picking up a kill. They get the flicker out as well. Not sure if Aizen wants to commit to that. He will back off, so it's a 1-for-1. But Team LILGUN got that turtle.
And they deny the purple buff away from Too Easy for Lexi. It's kind of, so that makes it kind of equal, I guess. But for Team LILGUN, getting the turtle is definitely a win, considering they are up against a very strong, like mid-lane rotation-ish later on, especially after level 4. So sneaking that in is great, but now what can they do with that lead, right? Are they going to try and get into the gold lane, go for a pick-off? Because the Divine Judgment in this early stage, without enough damage, it's not exactly a death sentence when you get hit by it.
I think if that is going to be the case, oh man, another game pause has been initiated. Don't worry, for all our Laotian fans, NIGHTMARE Esports has sat through this once before, and we see that with each and every pause, it feels like they're just stacking up. They're getting stronger and stronger each time.
Yeah, and you guys were expanding there on the XP lane, the roam, and everything. My main question too is, what about the carry pick? A marksman pick that we haven't seen pop up too often. It works great against shredding some of these healthier heroes down and everything else, but it takes some time to build up, and then you have that limited range. You got to be able to bob and weave out of certain situations really well. And again, maybe that's why they went with the Ruby, right? To help heal, to help protect it. But how do we feel about the scaling of carry?
I don't know, because I actually agree with Naisu on this one. There's a lot of potential problems. It's not just the Divine Judgment. It's not just the spatial migration. It's just a lot of ways to lock people down. But before we answer that question with Arashi's analysis, let's see this roll.
Oh, it's again.
Kagura skin. I like it. I like it. I like it.
Kagura?
Oh, wait. Is that? No. That's Angela. My bad.
That's all he got.
Wow.
What? Oh, the poor guy.
Sometimes expectations don't really match up to reality, unfortunately. Oh, wow. He was really looking forward to that, too.
He was hoping.
It's got to be sad. But maybe another. Maybe another.
Maybe another one.
You got to dig deeper, bro.
They got to know how many rolls and equivalent of diamonds have been drawn through the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot, but only one man got an aspirant skin off of it. I don't know.
We haven't heard a lot more updates about that. If you do get it, do tell, do share on social media. But going back to the carry question, I feel like the scaling is very much there. The damage is very real. But the thing is, can you even output the damage? Because again, with a marksman, staying safe is great and having a lot of damage is great, but if you can't even get into range to output the damage, you might as well have no damage. So against this composition, especially with a Guinevere, right, with a glue, a lot of dashes and crowd control, it's going to be a bit tough, especially with the battle spell of choice. And even then afterwards, I guess in this game particularly, going up against a Guinevere and a Glue, these are two heroes that do build a lot of HP.
Right.
So if later on NIGHTMARE does scale and they do want to go for a very fast-paced, very decisive kind of fight, they will be able to get it with the carry. But the question is at what cost? And if even and before that, can they even get it with the Novaria being a pesky problem? In the middle of fight, you can just put down an Astral Meteor, and the carry sometimes can get zoned out completely.
It's deceptively painful, as you mentioned before. But not only that, right? There's also the potential of, like, the most ideal scenario I see for NIGHTMARE is if LILGUN kind of get a little too close to each other. They get hit by the I'm Offended, it gets hit, 4 people get pulled into the penalty zone. That's the only situation I can actually see where they might come up on top. So, hey, wait, is that Mr. Shadow Analyst?
Nice to translate.
Very familiar, by the way.
There are words on there, Naisu. Does it warrant the translation?
Actually, was that Filipino? I didn't look.
I think
I could not see
I did not look close enough.
I think it was. But anyway, shout out Wolf.
Shout out to Wolf.
Wolf.
The many names he goes by.
The many names, the many different faces as well.
He's probably out there right now making a good old cup of coffee.
That's actually a little too accurate. I bet he's doing that right now. And he's listening to this and he's like, wait, how'd you know?
Yeah.
He's just hiding in the shadows of the tournament, man. That's crazy.
He needs coffee for this poll right here.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. It won't go.
No!
Don't
deny the man!
You need an ROG.
Why isn't it working?
Don't deny the man!
Oh.
Looks like the fingerprint just didn't match.
He has 2 minutes. He has 2 minutes. Come on, bro. Sort it out. Let's go.
Can we get one of the marshals to check out his phone?
Little did you know it's actually a fingerprint scanner.
No, please, not my identification.
I love how the draw is now like a canon event for wildcards, right? It's just a thing now.
It's just a thing.
It's a wildcard thing.
If this is exclusive to wildcards, that'd be so much fun.
What if it happens in the main event?
In M5?
I think it's cooler if it's only wildcard though, right?
It's just a wild card thing.
Only, I don't mind if it happens in M5 on
Okay.
condition that M5 comes up with another line of skins that's exclusive to the event,
it's
just
happening.
the roll.
Oh, what?
That's a saber. Oh, that's Layla saber.
No. Ah, okay. Wait. That's it. Look, some people are unlucky
People are
and they
pulling their
just
phones
band
out.
together. I mean, who doesn't want to roll it on camera, man? It's just that much more. When people are like, oh yeah, I rolled 110 roll and I got it. Nobody believes you. Open up the stream.
What is the best prize there?
The best prize?
You guys, or I guess it's subjective.
It is kind of subjective.
What is the rarest? Is it just a collector?
I mean, personally, for me, I do quite like the collectors very, very much. I personally love some of the legend skins. Cosmic Granger, one of my favorites.
Is that available in that draw?
I don't know.
Oh, he's doing it.
I think so.
Once again, let's go.
It would be.
fingerprint.
Oh no, okay.
Oh,
What?
Oh, he just did the one draw.
Oh, no.
It was the one draw.
No.
At least you tried.
Don't worry, 9 more times.
One more?
Just do ones, 9 more times. We'll see whether you get something.
You have to do the ×10 for like a special one, right? Like
Of course.
To get something of significance, kind of. But you gotta mention that some people, they feel like, hey, if I've seen 10 people roll, if I've seen 9 people roll the 10 times and not get something of significance, as a 10th person, I will get it. And that's bad math. But people believe it.
That's bad math. Yeah, I feel like, you know, even last night we had a lot of bad math on the table. Shout out to LaFell, or Sirius Fell, or whatever you want to call him.
Sirafel.
Or Ruffell.
Oh, good times.
Shout out Rafael.
Oh, good times, good
Oh,
times.
man.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
All right,
Woo!
let's jump back into the land of Dawn and see the quick updates on what exactly has been going on here. Get the graphic, come on. Okay, so first turtle is already done. The next turtle is coming up in about 6 seconds, but now the dive.
We're going to go ahead and jump in. They get the flicker out. That might be all they're able to accomplish. But Team LILGUN might be happy with that. Turtle now spawns.
Well, now there won't be a flicker available for Cammy if he goes into this fight. So,
Wow.
in a way, they kind of denied NIIGHTMARE Esports any real fighting chance. Now, Zora just keep looking for more things in the jungle here. With this Guinevere, you're just so safe. You can just be so risky because you know you have an easy way out. It's a double dash.
Yeah, but we're already past the 4 minutes, and we're seeing a lane swap actually happen for the side of NIGHTMARE. Juliana has to hold.
Oh!
There's the pull, Divine Judgment, and the spatial migration. Juviana's going to be out of here. And they're happy with another pickoff, slow and steady for Team LILGUN.
Whew, that was quick, man. That is the decisiveness of Team LILGUN. But NIIGHTMARE Esports, Lexi just goes for a trade right there. Small victories, silver linings. But Team LILGUN is the one just controlling the pace right here. And now moving in together into the opposing team's jungle. We'll see if NIIGHTMARE Esports can get them out.
For how long though, right? You're looking for like trade backs. Okay, you lose your buff, you take 1 small camp. Sure, that's totally fine. But too easy for Lexi. He's going to be taking up so much more because he's spending so much more time on the bottom side of the map. And let's not forget, at the end of the day, if Bebex ends up dying on this bottom side,
oh no, the damage is going to be there. Good pickup there for too easy for Lexi. Decisive moment, but now on the bottom side, Ethan could be in trouble. He might get sandwiched in. Yeah, Forbid trying to help him out, but he's going to get caught. The I'm offended comes through, and another pickup for NIIGHTMARE Esports.
Oof, what a disaster there. That's just not the way to go. Just like that, they lost a bit of an advantage. They even lost a turret in the bottom side. NIIGHTMARE Esports striking back at the right time, showing that they can make things happen if they do get the window of opportunity.
I mean, that window is if that Divine Judgment is down. As soon as it's on cooldown, expect NIIGHTMARE to start making money moves across the map. But keep in mind, Ethan does have it up now. The real question is whether Team LILGUN is going to find that opportunity or force the opportunity from NIIGHTMARE.
Yeah, and again, as they get in position here, this is a great kind of back and forth so far for the early game right now. For this third turtle, I feel like NIIGHTMARE Esports is in a position to contest it as long as they don't lose someone before the actual dance starts up. But they're going to fight it out in the mid lane, looking for another one. Jasmine will be able to survive. This split. Going to be committed. Aizen running them down.
Oh,
This might be a moment, though, for them to take it still. Soul trying to get away from there. Too easy for Lexi. Waiting patiently. He might try to do something sneaky. Spatial migration into the Requiem. Too easy for Lexi. Quite low, but he's going to be able to get away for now. Still looking for more. Tries to get the turtle. Cammy fall. Turtle secured by ZF. Oh, and Forbid lands the shot. Now Juliana on the hunt, trying to get some revenge. He will be able to get it. Forbid to fall there. It's a bloodbath everywhere on this side of the map. Ethan will be able to get away as well. Aizen still duking it out.
Man, a 2-for-2 trade in that particular fashion. Everything that could have gone wrong didn't actually go wrong this time, right? NIIGHTMARE dodged the initial engage, but still, Ethan is so proactive on the map, and it feels like everybody on the side of Team LILGUN are looking more refined today, especially for a game 1.
and don't forget Aizen just zoning, especially one of the main damage tools in the early game. So on the Lilia in that whole engagement. Even after the split just wears off, he just stands there menacingly, and there's not a lot of things that NIIGHTMARE can do. When they're looking for a play, they get exposed though.
They're going to be walking a lot in the mid lane, all 5 of them. 4 of them being revealed, but they already know where Jaforzabin is going to be. I'm going to be switching between those two all day, every day. Get used to it, boys and girls. 53 more seconds until the Lord spawns.
That was me too. You know, the first time I casted a Nightmare esports game, I was doing the same thing, right? But one thing's for sure here. Both teams relatively at this point, yes, the 3 turtles are taken from Team LILGUN, but you can see when they actually clash it out and battle it out, it could be a 50-50 at this point.
Here's an M-Series fact, though. Grab is back. Glue is ranked 3rd in ban and pick rate last M4 World Championships, 98% in 102 games. That is insane, but now he's making maybe a bit of a comeback. We'll see if that happens. Look at Zora, though.
Zora gonna find the target. Jasmine gonna be in trouble under the turret. The rest of the team just has to sit there, but they're gonna initiate now. Juviana jumping in with the penalty zone. It's Eisen with a split. They're still gonna be going forward for more. Eisen giving the call. Ethan goes in with the flicker, lands it perfectly. Cammy's found, he falls. Still going at it. Zora now gonna be the one in trouble. Too easy for Lexi, goes in, but Soso cleans up the kill. Bebex with the damage here on that. Bruno gets the flicker out, and they're still going. Too easy, can't get it this time. Bebex barely surviving, and they get the turret on top of it.
Oh my goodness, I thought he would die to the lethal ignition at the very least, especially since he had the electrifying beats, but still could not get it off in time. With considering everything that has happened, the most frustrating part has to go over to Jasmine because he got clipped right at the edge because of the increased hitboxes from the Astral Echo.
There was an engage onto the roamer, and they still come out on top there. You have to commend Team LILGUN for their precise damage calculations, man, because they've phased out of there. It's almost like a fadeaway kill onto Jasmine initially, and afterwards just knowing exactly how much damage they have. And you have to commend Bebex as well for just having the guts to just stand there and trade blows. This is one of the things that really made him stand out as a marksman, as a gold laner. He doesn't really back away against assassins. He wants to go head to head.
Wow, Ethan.
Oof.
Looked like he wanted to possibly do that. Maybe if he had the flicker, he actually would have given that a go, but you know, using the conceal right now, they're just going to wait for that Lord to push down on the bottom side.
Yep, I mean, if they can drag this out for another 15 more seconds, he's going to have that flicker back up. And knowing how Ethan has been playing so far, I'm pretty sure that might even result into an inhibitor target because Nightmare esports sure as hell ain't giving them mid-tier 1.
Was that KDA? 9? For
9.
Ethan? And a roam?
I mean, that means he gets a lot of kills, assists, but also means that he has a very low amount of deaths. He's the forefront of Team LILGUN here in engages, but when he goes in, he almost hasn't been punished for it just yet. We'll have to see if he can maintain this clean sheet.
No, now that I think about it, putting it all together, connecting all of the dots, if Ethan has a 9.0 KDA and Team SMG has 4 of that 5 in the top spot, when it comes down to like just KDA and overall damage, it begs the question what those numbers are.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Interesting, man.
For the most part, the harassment is just starting to get annoying here. Like Forbid, he isn't being annoyed a lot considering just the raw amount of peel as well as the deterrence that they hold on to for as long as possible to make sure that Nightmare esports don't do anything funky.
I do feel like Forbid kind of knows when to actually commit and give his life up for the greater good almost. Because earlier, I think we saw Lexi jump on him and he just stood there and traded damage back as if he's saying like, okay, you can take me, but you know, there's gonna be trade backs from my whole team. I got my squad with me. So in a 60-second waiting timer for the Lord, look at the items here. Already a Lightning Truncheon, a Enchanted Talisman, and a Divine Glaive built by Forbid. So that's a lot of burst damage already, even onto Juviana on the Terizla, who is going for a bit of a Radiant Armor here. In that matchup against the Glue, I guess that's the way to go. For carry, that's the real problem, man. Only 2 items built up. The third, probably a Demon Hunter Sword, not even, I guess it's halfway there. But the gold disparity compared to Bebex, man, that is insane. Even with the Rose Gold right now, more ways for him to just stick in there, dig in, and just trade blows with anybody.
Yeah, I mean, his feet are in the ground right now, and he is very comfortable. And considering the amount of resources being pushed into him, there's, again, that's why he's 4-1-1 right now. That's why he's level 14, keeping up with his jungler, who is just a level ahead. But on the opposite side, even still, I still think that a 50-50 around this Lord might be able to kind of break this game open.
And one thing thing that I will say that, again, we don't see Ruby often, but she's great at base defenses, right? Pulling something amazing off with the I'm Offended combination with the flicker. But even so, I think it works better. There's a deficit that's clearly there. This is going to be a Lord going to the hands of Team LILGUN, and that's where I think NIGHTMARE Esports, that's their best chances of staying in this game and possibly turning things around. Let LILGUN come into your base and try to pull something off, whether that's surviving the initial, aggression with the spatial migration or whatever Ethan throws at them as well. Trying to keep alive there, trying to keep things going, because Cammy now just picking up the DHS, you're just getting to the point, right, where this carry is starting to be a threat. But the hardest part that we've seen so far is, again, the positioning, like we pointed out earlier on.
And I think the one particular interaction I would love to see is if Jasmine can react in time to Ethan flickering Divine Judgment and look for the I'm Offended and flicker back into Yoink him.
You know what? He can even preemptively use the Dome of Wolf King, so he kind of has he has double the chances of doing that. Because even that small mini stun is enough to really cancel out the whole flow of the engagement. It can really mess up Ethan's targeting in the whole pick-off attempt as well. So for now, NIGHTMARE Esports don't really have the tankiness to send someone in the front lines as well. So like Nice mentioned, staying in the base, but still looking forward to try and get something. That is that poke damage though.
Let's see how this Lord actually tries to crack open this base. I don't think they're going to get this inhibitor for now, but at the same time, we wait in anticipation. Come on. Where's that engage?
Jasmine has the immortality, but look at the spatial migration into the Requiem. Going to be able to find 2 targets. Penalty zone not going to be enough as well. Jasmine still has the immortality, but they're going to lose the mid-base turret, top as well. And shortly after, if LILGUNs want to, they can take the bottom here. It's a couple hits away. They wait for the minions.
They might just go for it.
Ethan gonna jump in, finds the target as Cammy finds the perfect one. Ethan's still gonna be alive, Soul falls as well. They're gonna go ahead and work on the crystal. It's only 2 members of NIGHTMARE Esports, and it will not be enough as Forbid gets another shot, and they take game number 1.
Woo! What a clean close coming in from Team LILGUN. Now, kind of breaking the mold this time, not dropping that game up, but instead taking it for themselves. Now it's up to NIGHTMARE to adapt to them.
That is insane, dude. They took the fight under the turret. I haven't seen that in a while, man. Usually now, you go for a pick-off and get out, or you go for a fight, and in the middle of the fight, take down the turret first, and then continue. They just completely ignored the turret and fought under it, man. That just shows you how strong their tanky members are to tank the hard shots. But it also shows that they just have full confidence in how they're going to execute that game plan. They just read through it and knew that they can make it happen.
I mean, let's not also forget that Guinevere is jumping so deep in that he basically spatial migration into the spawn.
Yeah, that was amazing, and it's just, you guys said it. This is a very different Team LILGUN than we're used to seeing in game number 1. This is what we usually see from them, at least for the wild card so far, what they show in game 2 and 3, right? This is a very strong showing, and every single time, I gotta give it up. This Guinevere here, there's a reason why it's highly contested or banned out. It obliterated so many parts of the map, and also the objectives, they handled that so well there. So again, great showing from Team LILGUN.
All right, let's have a look at some of the post-game stats here and have a rough idea in a little bit, but our MVP of this game, and give it up, and you can even say humble, man. He's like, let's calm down, we still have a series left to go. Give it up for your boy, Ethan, coming in clutch with Kaja so many times. As soon as it's off cooldown, you know the play's happening.
That KDA.
It's KDA, man. He went with the basic emblem as well, so usually we see Kaja's a bit more concerned about the movement speed, about the tankiness. We see Brave Smite occasionally, as well as a focusing mark to help with the pickoff. But now, look, with his playstyle, he didn't even need it. He goes for the extra bit of movement speed, right? That helps him go for more surprising catches, more sustain as well in those early game roamer duels. And it just really works with his playstyle, man. It's so aggressive. And for some reason, he just never seems to get punished for it. It's like his positioning is just so well calculated.
I mean, the fact that he has pull yourself together to make sure that his battle spell come off cooldown, but keep in mind, he's using common emblems this time around. And I've noticed this happening a lot in the wild cards where people have been debating previously about, whether I should be picking up a Genius Wand or whether I should be going in for the Divine Glaive. No. I think this is a little bit more important here, because does this take away the relevance of the support emblems overall? Because again, again, you can tell, Ethan, he hardly needs a recall unless he's a little low. It's like, I need some health. My flicker is about to come up. Let's top up.
Exactly, with the basic emblem and the quantum charge here, then he can just really heal up whenever he really wants to, because it also really helps this playstyle to just wait around for the opportunities. And in this strategy where there's a lot of poking happening, a bit of a dance going on between the two teams, he can very easily just wait it out. And even if it's low, look at it, he's just regenerating quite more than people would give him credit for. So maybe sometimes you'll see him low and you're like, okay, no Divine Judgment, and he shows up like, psych. That's the wrong assumption.
It works, right?
It works. No, it does work, and I think that, like, in cases like this, it's about the consistent pressure, that he applies across the map. The more time he's not in, the more time that he doesn't waste inside of his base healing up, the more time he is allowed to position himself in ways where he can just show pressure with his presence alone.
Yeah, and again, even looking at the highlights here, I love just how, yes, Ethan was the MVP here, but, with having a Guinevere on ZXORA, you have so many options to pull in fights for you, whether that's Divine Judgment, whether that's Spatial Migration. You can also disengage really well, right? And that's kind of what we saw. Sometimes, too, it was just Aizen playing that front line for them while they caused chaos here for NIGHTMARE Esports to deal with. And really, there just was, at some point, like, the Ruby is not going to cut it, right? In theory, it should work, but in this way, the execution wasn't there.
And I think a big portion of why Ethan is so successful in every single aspect of his roaming game is because for LILGUN, they really like having the tanky members not in the roaming position, right? They like going for the utility roamers or the pickup roamers, and generally Ethan is never tanking in the front. He's always waiting in the back, and that's why it's so easy for him to just wait for the right moment. His teammates, including the jungler, by the way, on the Guinevere, Zora, is just willing to take that damage, knowing that Ethan will make the moment happen for him.
See this right here, the 15-minute mark? This, I feel like, aside from that one, long game that we saw from them yesterday, this is the time frame of Team LILGUN. Like 15, let's say, to 18. That's our average time for the wild card. But that's why, usually when teams play this fast, or like this style, this momentum-based, you have to be able to answer them early on, or things just kind of snowball out of control. That's what we saw. At one point, they had, what, an 8,000 gold lead or something along those lines by the time they were knocking on the base of NIGHTMARE Esports.
Yeah, and I mean, that's when they get that, when we talk about gold lead, it comes down to the point of, like, getting to that checkmate situation, right? Anything after, anything above 54K, really doesn't matter. You're already at max items, and you're looking to have enough economy to juggle them out. But prior to that, if you have a 10K gold lead, 39 to 49, that's checkmate, man. You're behind on your last couple of items, your situationals, and sometimes even core items for some of the tanks.
And sometimes it does happen, right? A 10K gold lead kind of loses out to the execution, etc., etc. But that's very, very rare. And we haven't seen it too often. And Bebex, by the way, didn't go with the weapon mastery. So he was really going in all in that early game pressure. Even with the tenacity, which in a way, I guess, saved his life there in that 1v1 technically with Too Easy for Lexi, right? It gives you more resistances when you're below 50% HP. And then he goes for this rose gold as well. So he really enjoys this physical lifesteal, tank-heavy, dual-heavy playstyle. And it's always very fun to watch because it's very unusual.
Yeah, not only that, but how many times did he get away with literally 1 HP?
Honestly, a little too many times.
At least 3?
Yeah, so of course, especially when it's your opposing gold laner and they get away with that sliver of health, it's a little demoralizing, right? And things kind of fall apart because you don't get those kills that you should technically have. And that's why for a while, there was that debate that tenacity really is one of those just very strong emblems that you should really consider. We see teams kind of go for it, some don't. But this case, it proved that statistically it worked really well for the game.
No, it does. And I think, in this particular case, Bebex, he's just a go-getter, right? He doesn't want to be part of that gold lane experience. He's going to do it himself.
I mean, again, everyone just played really, really well right here. Even Forbid being the carry here, I think it's really good that his whole team can just wait around and have him scout out and do damage without really committing a lot of things. That's part of why this really works out. For the most part, it's almost like NIGHTMARE are kind of confused, right? Like they're facing our